family that's giving you something to talk about, or just alive TV, as I like to call it. I'm your host, Melissa Krechler. I'm an identity coach, spiritual teacher, business mentor, creator, and founder of not only Just Alive TV, but also the Women Supporting Women Can Network. Please like, follow, and share the show. Get involved. If you want to comment or if you want to send us a message, you can do so. If you'd like to connect with myself or my guest speaker today, you can do that by clicking the links in the description of this episode. Today's episode has been sponsored by the Women Supporting Women Can Network, which is a membership network for women by women that's going to allow you to connect, to learn, to grow, to vent, who doesn't want to vent, in a safe, judgment-free space with just women. So go and check that out. Link in the description. All right. I'm going to hand it over to you to introduce yourself.
Oh, hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me on your show today, Melissa. I'm Anita, and I'm over here in the United Kingdom in Shakespeare's town of Stratford-on-Avon, and I'm a CEO, beauty therapist, and I am a published author.
Love it. Love it. I love that you said Shakespeare. I loved Shakespeare growing up.
Yeah, I think when you say Shakespeare, everyone knows then where you are in the United Kingdom.
Honestly, I don't, because I've never been. And I'm in Canada, so I've never been. And I honestly, I didn't do enough research on where that is. So I'm a little
just
bit
outside the Cotswolds. It's a lovely, beautiful area in the Midlands.
Oh, very nice. You'll have to send me pictures. Either that or I'll scope out your profile later. The pictures. I do love looking at different places. We've lived across Canada. I've been to multiple different states in the US, but I've never traveled across the ocean. So yeah, we haven't. That's the farthest I've been. So today we're talking about introverted success. Now, you and I, when we were doing the pre-screening interview, we talked about comfort zone. We talked about introverts, being shy, you being a published author, myself being a published author. And then we got into a little bit of the fear of exposure and, you know, the fear of success and not understanding what success means and that it is different for everybody. Now, we're not going to go into too much of what success is because we have done an episode on success already. What is success? You can find that at justalivetv.com. But just a little rundown on what is success. So I'm gonna give you my version, and we'll see if Anita's is different. My definition of success is whatever makes you feel successful. I think that true success is a feeling. It's not, you know, it's not what somebody else believes that your version of success is not going to be the same as my version of success. And that's totally fine. There are people who are very happy and content working a 9-to-5 job or being a stay-at-home mom or anything along those lines, not singling out women, who are happy and feel very successful and accomplished because that's what their version of success looks like.
So my version of success is being in control of your life and income and not having it dictated by somebody else. Yeah.
And I think that goes hand in hand with, you know, being an entrepreneur or being somebody who wants to, you know, be their own boss. And a lot of us shy away from that. And we're talking majority about that today when it comes to introverted success is, you know, you and I made the comment that, you know, success doesn't have to look like $1 million bank account. Right. And right. I think that, especially for people who are introverts, right? You see all of these coaches online right now. 30 days to 10K or, you know, 5-day week or 5K days or 5K weeks or whatever that looks like. You see all these ads and all the advertising and all the lives. And it's like, what if I don't want to make that yet? What if I'm, you know, nervous about making that? For an introvert, it's, you know, the fear of the exposure, the fear of the unknown, removing yourself from your comfort zone and then being like, well, that's not what success looks like for me. You know?
Absolutely. Because when you're in your little bubble of comfort, you feel safe, you feel in control. And then when something happens where someone's telling you, you know, you can do this in don't know, so many weeks, it scares the hell out of you. It really does.
Yep. Yeah, it absolutely does. And I had a thought before we started today's episode. I was thinking of introverts, and I was thinking of introverted success, right? And I'm like, you're an author, I'm an author. And I was thinking about it, and I'm like, what makes introverts such good authors, right? And I'm like, because they're in their own bubble, right? Mm-hmm. They're in their own. Introverts kind of sit back and observe. Yeah. They're very quiet. They're very shy. They're kind of watching everybody around them. And then you think about the stories that come from introverts, right? The stories, the imagination, the intuition, the connection to yourself, and like the downloads. I was thinking about that today, and I'm like, how good are storytellers? How good are introverts as storytellers? So if you're an author in the audience, or if you're catching the replay of this episode, are you an introvert, and do you have stories? Like, do you just have like this whole dialogue of stories in your head that you want to put out there, but you're terrified to get out of your comfort zone? Because that's a huge one.
It is, yeah. It'd be interesting to see how many people are feeling that way, obviously, because introverts and being shy are sort of two completely different things. Because when you're introverted, you like that alone time, you enjoy your own company. It doesn't necessarily mean that you don't like being around people. And obviously being shy means that, well, we certainly wouldn't be doing this live TV show with you today. But that's how I was many, many years ago, until I learned to move out from my comfort zone to become the person that I am today. So I would now describe myself as being a strong introvert. I'm no longer shy. But I still stay in my little comfort bubble sometimes, especially when I've not done a podcast for quite a while. And then you think, oh, I'm going to be doing one tonight. Yeah, you psych yourself up, you get yourself ready, and then you do it. It is all about moving out from that safe space where you feel, where your anxiety level is at a stable state, and you get those feelings that churn up inside you. But the more you push yourself further, the easier it becomes. You always have challenges. It's never completely easy. You always have that little feeling inside the knot inside your stomach when you do it. But when you first start doing it, you might experience feelings of nausea. Like I did, there were many times I wanted to physically throw up when I was moving out of my comfort zone, and I could have stayed safe. I could have not done it, but I pushed myself to do this. And the feeling that you get, the other side of it, is one of the best feelings in the world, because you sort of pat yourself on the back and say, wow, I really, really did do that.
Yep. I remember the first time I ever did an in-person speaking. It was for my local Chamber of Commerce. And I did a presentation during their lunch hour. And I've always been very camera shy. I don't like being on camera. I don't like hearing my own voice. I don't like being the center of attention, which is shocking because I run a talk show. And I'm a motivational, going to be a motivational speaker and all of these other things. And so I do tend to shy away from doing it, and I do tend to stick into my comfort zone. And I would get massive stage fright, to the point where I would start sweating. I'd get really nauseous. I would cry. I remember, like I said, doing that first one, I'm standing out in this room full of people, and there's probably only like 10 people there. 15 people there, and I'm sweating and I'm shaking. And like,
I know those feelings so well.
Oh, it was horrendous. Like, it was great because once I started doing it and kind of just forced myself to do it, it got easier, right? And it got better. I know that beforehand, I'm going through every possible motion, even today, even now, right? We've been doing the show. This is episode 135. Of the show. There's a couple little extras, but live stream episodes, this is 135. And since I've done the show, it's gotten easier, right? I'm
Yes.
not, oh, my face looks like crap. I'm not comfortable, you know. I can take my sweater off and just do it in my tank top, and I'm just like, good, let's go, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't care that, you know, I'm overweight, or, you know, that I've got a chip in my tooth right now, because I totally do.
Oh,
I don't know how that happened, but I have a chip in my tooth. But during that process, right now, I went to a show in March with one of my best friends. She took me to a show at our opera house, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching these people on stage, and I'm like, I want to be up there. Like, I want to be up there talking to people. And for me, that's one of the most traumatizing things that I could even think. And I sat back for a second, and I'm like, what? Like, where did that even come from? And for me, that's success, right? Yes. For me, that was a successful feeling, because I actually want to do it. I actually want to stand up on that stage and be the center of attention. And it's crazy. It's we all kind of go through that. I love that you mentioned hyping yourself up. And I think that for all of us, that is a huge one. Even if you're not, you know, a full introvert, or, you know, different levels of being an introvert, there are still things that you can do to hype yourself up. Let's say before an episode, I'll go back, you know, if I'm feeling really nervous, I'll go back, and I do it. It's habit now. And I'm not even nervous, but it's habit now. I go back, I grab my notes from pre-screening interviews, and I'm like, hey, what are we talking about today? Right. And if I get any inspiration, I'll play some music to get all high vibe and vibed up and crazy. And I do whatever it is that I need to do beforehand to, you know, make myself feel good. And I notice that when I do that, whether it's, you know, writing or, piece of fluff, whether it's writing, whether it's doing an episode or being a guest on somebody else's show, you know, I find that I start thinking about the topic, or I start thinking about what it is that I want to do, and I get inspired.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. That's what I did before this show today. So I knew what we were going to be talking about. So I just made some point notes, obviously, so that I could make sure I covered everything with everyone today.
Absolutely. So what points did you write down? Let's hear some of them.
Well, obviously, the main thing we were going to be talking about today, obviously, was the comfort zone and how I push myself out from the zones. So I was obviously made some notes on the different levels of comfort zone. So when you feel safe in your little bubble, and then everything's all okay, and you're stuck, you could be obviously in your job, you might want to lose weight or things like that, you feel safe, you feel comfortable. But when you start to push yourself, then all those little niggling doubts start to come into your mind. Can I do this? Oh no, I'll just stay where I am, it's safe there. But then as you move forward, then you move into a learning zone as you become better and better at what you do. And then afterwards, you move forward into the growth zone. And that is where the magic really happens, because you look back and you see how far you've come, and you start living your dreams, you become a better person, and your mindset changes as well, which is one of the most important things with the comfort zone, because you can stay stuck where you are, where it's safe, or you can push yourself to becoming the person that you dream of becoming. When I first started massaging celebrities, I went through quite an array of emotions. Could I do this? Why would they want to choose me to do this? And like you said earlier, with your having stage fright, when I was at my first celebrity event, I shied away from all the cameras. There was plenty of the top of my head because I just didn't want to be on camera, even though it was part of the job. But the more I did, the more I enjoyed it. And now I don't shy away from the camera at all. So now I don't worry about if I've got a hair out of place. Have I done my roots? Oh, no, I haven't. It doesn't matter. You know, you just be who you are. And that's how people see you.
Yep. Hair up, my gray's showing. I got all the The little
What
flyaways
brave.
happening here, right? Oh, I do. I embrace them. I like my grays.
So we just don't worry about it.
No, I don't care. You know what? I'm actually excited to get a full head of gray hair. It's something I'm looking forward to futuristically, obviously,
Yes.
not right now. But futuristically, that is something I'm definitely excited for. So again, with, the fear of exposure, right? Because we were talking about being scared of exposure and again, comfort zone, right? There are ways that you can start taking little steps, right? You don't have to just be like, bam, here I am. You can take little steps. So I keep coming back to the author part. Pseudonyms, right? If you want to become an author and you don't want to share, yourself, pseudonyms. I don't know how many people I've gone onto the Dream apps, and there's a couple other apps where you pay to read other people's books, and they're new authors. Yeah. And I go in there and, you don't know who they are, you don't see their face, and, you just read their words, and they get paid for it, which is nice. And then they'll do like support groups or, Facebook pages. But again, they don't have to show their face. They don't have to, put themselves right into that blinding light, as it can feel, and take all that credit, right? So little steps like that. You don't have to be the face of everything right away.
No, not straight away. And that's why when I wrote my heart-led story and had it published, I wanted to get out there into the world, obviously with podcasts, YouTube, things like that, so that people could see the person behind. Who is this person who's saying about coming out their comfort zone and all these feelings when they're not even going to show their face? So here I am to prove that you can do it too. So when I eventually, over the course of time, I will eventually release a second edition of my book, then that will be my next stage, is what I have gone on from where I ended it. Obviously, I talk about obviously building up my business, all my feelings, how I went through a lot of procrastination to get to where I am. I went through a lot of bereavements, adversity, wake-up calls. So the point I've ended it at, obviously, which is on a high, the next one will be my PR journey and my success with all my books to inspire people. Because I now, even though I'm in my growth zone, I have now started a new level of a comfort zone as I start doing podcasts, writing further books, and growing as a person with the more that I do. So you're always learning and growing, and you're always going to feel comfortable. But like we said, it does get easier. The more you do it, it does get easier. And if I'm feeling a little bit nervous, I've got special music that I would listen to, and I get myself all hyped up. I'd look myself in the mirror and say, you can do this, you can do this. And then I'd be ready and raring to go, ready for my next podcast.
Well, that's like today. I'm procrastinating. I've spent the last probably 4 months procrastinating. I have file folders beyond belief on my right side, notebooks on my right side that are just waiting to go, waiting to be done. But I've been procrastinating, and it has a lot to do with comfort zone. It has a lot to do with when I do those things are definitely going to change, right? So not only does it come, from being an introvert or the fear of it's the fear of success, right? How is my life going to change when this happens? And I luckily have an amazing coach who calls me on it, and not in a negative way, but says, hey, like, you're freaking out over this, but does it actually look like that? And just the clarity on that. So another thing would be getting somebody, if you're going through an entrepreneurial journey, or, becoming an author, becoming a CEO, becoming a coach or a healer, or whatever it is that you're looking for, there are people like us who do help you through that process, right? I work through business mindset, and I help people with, creating a business that works for them. We're not all cookie cutter business, not sisterhood of the traveling pants people. None of our businesses look the same. So it's finding people to help you, right? Or just one of the biggest things I've needed in my business is a sounding board. I need somebody to listen to me go off about my idea, go off about my plans. And then as I'm doing that, the inspiration comes, the changes come, the clarity of, oh, this is why it's not working. Maybe this is what I need to try, right? And so having that help behind you, again, is super important. And it took me, well, I've had 4 business coaches and in 6 years, and everyone taught me something different. But it wasn't until my most recent one that I actually started to get the help that I needed. So if you find one and it doesn't work, there's a reason behind it. Don't give up.
Absolutely. If something's not working right, then you just learn from it and move on to what is working right. Like you said, I've had a couple of business coaches through my time, and they both say different things, like you say.
Yep. We all eventually find the one that inspires the crap out of us to actually get our stuff together.
Absolutely, yes.
So what else do you have on your list to go through? Might as well get to those before we run out of time.
Yeah, so I think we've touched mostly on it. Obviously, that obviously with the comfort zone. I think I'll start from when I first started to come out of my comfort zone, because it took me many, many, many years. It was when I first started working in my first career in corporate pharmacy, and then I was sort of in a job, but I felt stuck. I just wanted to move forward, but I just didn't know how. And then when my late brother introduced me to network marketing, that's when I learned about the power of changing your mindset with network marketing. But I still, as soon as I started to get a little bit of success, I would stop believing in myself and I would shy away from it and go back into my bubble. And eventually I quit because I just didn't believe that I was good enough at all. But it took a very, very long time before I finally had a wake-up call, which made me realize that if you carry on the way you're going, then you're going to stay stuck in your comfort bubble forever. You were miserable in your job, you wanted it to change, but the only person that could change it was me, and it took me many, many years to do that.
Well, I think one of the questions, if you're feeling stuck, one of the questions to ask yourself, and this is for anybody watching, is it worth staying stuck? Would you rather stay stuck where you're at right now, have no growth, no change, and just live the rest of your life where you're at? Or do you really want to do the things that are in your head? Do you really want to do and accomplish the dreams that you have floating around, the passion, the purpose, the inspiration? Do you really want to touch on that, or are you going to just sit and stay stuck in that comfort zone?
Yeah, because you can have all these visions and dreams, but they'll stay there unless you put in the work and put in the action to move out, to make that dream become a reality. And it's always best to start off with something small rather than reaching for something that's unachievable. And then once you've done that, then you move on to the next one and the next one. And with every step forward, you eventually will find that you keep moving forward. For me, it was always 3 steps forward and 3 steps back. And sometimes it was 3 steps forward and 10 steps back. That's how stuck in my comfort zone I was. And I would just stay paralyzed, that I didn't move forward at all for many, many years. And I feel like I wasted so many years being stuck. So don't waste any years, because the time is now, this minute, this day. Yesterday has gone, tomorrow may never come. Now, so make that decision now to move forward in your life. And the best place to start is to look at what you want to change. If you can start by feeling what you are grateful for every day, it's just the littlest things. You might even find that you are actually happy where you are, but you just need to change your mindset a little. So learning how to be grateful for living in that moment. And if you truly are unhappy, then look at ways that you can move forward.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people get stuck because they don't know what they want, or they don't know, they're happy where they are, but everybody's telling them that it's not good enough. Right? That's a big one too. You can be happy doing whatever it is that you're doing. But if people are telling you, hey, it's not good enough, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? It's not their life.
No. And start with what your interests are as well. That's a good place to start. What are your hobbies? What do you enjoy doing in your free time? Watching telly isn't one of them. Because to me, sometimes that's just wasting time. We save that for a Saturday night when there's nothing else to do and you just want to relax. But when I went back to college to learn beauty therapy, I was working full time in corporate pharmacy. So I went back to college sort of 2 nights a week to study. And what did I do? I switched off the telly. I found the time. You will find the time. If you're in your heart, you really want to change your life, you will find a way.
Yep, absolutely. Sorry, I just had to write something down.
That's all right.
When you get inspired, you got to write it. I have little notebooks everywhere. So
you have to let me know what inspires you on our call tonight, Melissa. Or today for you. Obviously, it's nearly 7:30 in the evening over here in the UK.
Yeah, it's almost 1:30 here. It's almost 1:30 here. No, what inspired me was, or what inspiration did I just find was, finding that passion and, being clear on what it is, turning off the show, right? My husband and I, we have shows that we watch Sunday to Friday. We watch TV. Saturday is the only day that I don't think we have any shows to watch. But that's my evening with my husband and my mother-in-law. We spend that watching our favorite TV shows. But one of the things that I wanted to do I have a desktop. I love my desktop, but it's not mobile. So I was talking about it and I was writing it down because I was talking about it, but I hadn't actually written it down. Is that I want a laptop so that when we're watching shows, I can be doing mindless things that I need to do, uploading content or, prepping stuff or, even plugging away at my book while I'm, multitasking. So I want to give myself that ability to do multiple things at different times. And, if I want to just relax on the couch or relax in bed, but I want my computer with me, I can't do that. So it's finding,
you've done it.
Little stuff like that.
Yes.
All right. So is there anything else you'd like to add before we get going?
Yeah, I think I'd like to sort of finish with a couple of quotes, really. The ones that have stood quite firm with me, actually. This one is quoted by Bear Grylls. Being brave isn't the absence of fear. Being brave is having that fear, but finding a way through it. And also one by Louis Mandela is, don't let your past dictate who you are, but let it be part of who you will become.
Love those. Absolutely love those. And they are so very true. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Anita. I really appreciated your time and this conversation. I think that, for people to know that their success is entirely based on what they think their success is, to know that, being an introvert and finding success is one small step at a time. It doesn't have to be a giant leap. It doesn't have to be right in front of the camera. There are a lot of things that we can do to get ourselves out of that. And just understanding what your comfort zone truly is and how to work around it. All right. Well, again, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me today, Melissa. It was such an honor to be able to speak with you.
Sounds great. All right, just a family. If you would like to connect with either myself or Anita, you can do so. Our links are in the description of this episode. Feel free to reach out. Anita and I are both here and available to answer any questions, comment on the video or the soundtrack, whichever, wherever, or whenever you're watching. Like, follow, and share the show. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please make sure that you connect with us at justalivetv.com Or if you want to see a topic featured on the show that we haven't covered, or something that we want to cover a little bit more in depth, make sure that you reach out. Our sponsor today is the Women Supporting Women Can Network. Go and join a community of women, by women, for women. Learn all about whatever it is that you want to learn. Judgment-free space to learn, vent, grow, and connect. So lots of love to the family. Hope you have a wonderful afternoon, morning, or evening, depending on when or where you're watching from. And I'm Melissa. I'll see you all on the next episode.
Great.